As author Anthony Brandt has said, other things may change us, but we start and end with family. I've been picking the Commonwealth for 20 years, searching high and low at yard sales, thrift stores, antique malls, garages, and sometimes even barns for treasures I can pass on to new homes through eBay. But now as I watch my little ones growing up before my eyes, I find that my real treasures are right here with me every day. So join us as we pick, flip, and resell on our 2 eBay stores and in our 3 antique booths. Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Picker. My name is Kevin and we are here in the eBay cave again this evening. And we had, actually you know what, it's not this evening, it's this afternoon because I am still on Christmas break, which is awesome. My whole schedule gets changed around a little bit, but it's great because I get a little bit extra sleep in the morning and I have a little bit more energy to come down here. Sometimes when I'm on break and I'm doing this, I don't even know how I do it when I'm teaching school. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be shipping in the afternoon. It's my favorite thing to do. I hate shipping at 11, 12 o'clock at night, knowing as soon as it's done, I got to go up, go to bed, and then I got to do it all over again. So I'm happy to be shipping in the afternoon, and I'm glad you're here to join me. So at any rate, this is an interesting day. I've sold something that was returned to me. We talked previously about some returned items. I'm up to 6 returned items over the last 60 days, which is still under 1% of the items that have sold, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think that if I stay under 2%, I can tolerate it. I like to be closer to 1%. And I sold that item really quickly after it was sold once, got relisted, and it sold quickly again. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there. And I want to talk about what items I relist and what items I don't relist. It basically just depends on why it was returned and the condition it was returned in. So we'll talk about that. And I had a sale from what I'm going to call the Lost and Found sale, and we're going to keep track of that. We're about ready to retire the Plush Nirvana sale, even though I just saw, right before we started this, I just saw one of those items sell. So maybe we'll continue it on just a few more days, and then we'll retire that one. We like to keep track of a couple different sales. By the way, I don't know, do you like it when we're keeping track of sales out there? Is it helpful to you to see a wholesale kind of come to fruition? I like doing it from time to time. It helps me make those decisions on those big deals when they come about, when you're not just buying one-offs. It's easy to buy, hey, I bought these 2 things from this yard sale. But when you buy a bunch of stuff from one source, whether it's a garage sale or in this case from a golf course, is it worth it? And I like to do that. So let me know in the comments if you like tracking those sales, if you don't really care, or if you would prefer not to. You just let me know in the comments and we're probably going to do it anyways, even if you don't like it, but because I like it. But at any rate, I'd like to know what you think out there. Is it helpful to you if you're a reseller? Is it helpful to you if you're a first-time reseller out there? I think most people who are resellers kind of get an idea of what the heck you're doing. You learn things here and there, but for the most part, you know what you're doing, and that's the way it is for me. I'm watching people on YouTube, and I still learn things often from a lot of these resellers out there, and I appreciate those things. And then some things I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to do it that way, and that's kind of the point. I don't think I know the right thing to do half the time, and I am a part-timer still. There's a lot of things I wish I knew better. There's a lot of things that I still don't take the time to learn, and eventually over time I'll learn them, but right now I don't have the time to sit down and figure them out. At any rate, there was another item that I've sold now for the 2nd time, and it's going to be relisted a 3rd time, and it's never been returned. So there's a little riddle for you out there. So what in the world's going on with that? And that came out of the Homeschool Hustler store, so I'm going to let you take a look at that in a little bit. Maybe we can track down a Homeschool Hustler. The weather here is pretty good today, and so the Homeschool Hustlers are out back playing. So as soon as I get this video, I'm going to go out and play with them for a while, and then I'm going to come back in here, and we're going to do the shipping and get it to the post office before it closes. Without further ado, let's take a look at what's sold. Let's take a look. All right, here's the first item, and it is a Bunt brand Nordic wear. And I've sold a bunch of Nordic wear in the past, not huge high-value stuff, but this one came with the box. And I think this was a Goodwill buy, even though I can't find where the Goodwill sticker would have been. I might have got this at a yard sale, but I think it was a Goodwill buy. And it's pretty solid, good condition. And it sold for $12.95 plus shipping, and I probably paid $1.99 for it. So we're looking at maybe a $10 profit, maybe a little bit less. Had an Eneman sale, not to a viewer, and this, at least I don't think it's to a viewer. There was no message and there was no request for a $10 offer. So $12.81 for this guy, and it went out to Jill. So Jill, if you are a viewer, thank you so much for your purchase, and thank you for paying full price. And if you're not a viewer, thank you anyways. This came from a yard sale, and this might have been the one that was entitled, turned out to be a hoarder's sale, I think. I can't remember. It had a thumbnail with a bunch of Funko Pops on it, I think is what it was. And I bought this one, and I may have paid up a little bit for this. I think I paid $5 for it. But it's brand new, sealed, Saved by the Bell. And, you know, a lot of it, you can tell your generation. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, this is my generation. I watched this show, and I grew up in Southern California, so it felt like we were the only people watching it. But I'm sure a lot of you, even if you wouldn't admit it, watch this show. Anyway, it sold for $36.81 free shipping. It'll go medium mail, and it's a pretty good little profit of around $25. Just had a couple of straggler Fontaninis. This one didn't have a box with it, so I had to look it up. I don't even know if I came up with the right name for it. And I put out there at a pretty good price, $7.99 plus shipping. And I made a deal with Dirt Road Treasures. At the very end, we did a consignment sale, and I took it in and said, hey, I think it was $4.19, something like that. And I said, look, I'll just give you $4.30, and I'll keep the 3 or 4 pieces or 5 pieces that are left. I can't even remember how many are left, because I just want to close the books on the consignment. I hate holding other people's money. I like to know how much money I have so I can spend it on some new merchandise. And it's like eBay. You know, I don't know about you, but I look in and I see how much money I have in my account, and then I always calculate in, but that's not all my money. eBay gets this portion, which is usually a pretty big portion. This item sold for $7.99 plus shipping, and at this point, the profit is all mine. Had a board game piece sell, and I've already got it packaged up, which is usually what I do. And this is Maxine, and I've sold one of these already. These are tough sellers, and they're not quick sellers, and they're not high priced. But this, I'm probably into this for a dime or so, and it sold for $7.25. Free shipping. It'll go for about $2.60, about $2.75 or so, give or take, depending on where it's going. And it's a pretty cheap little shipper. Minus fees, minus expenses, it's probably close to a $4 profit. Maybe a little bit less, $3.50. All right, so all you new resellers out there, I hear you all the time talking about bad purchases. Well, some of us old timers make bad purchases too. This was one of them. And I guess it wasn't that bad of a purchase, but it was a quarter. And I've sold some of these in the past, but let me tell you, they're a long tail. I have had this for 2 years. 2 years. And the reason I bought it, because I wouldn't have bought it just because of the Looney Tunes on it. I bought it because it was Looney Tunes and golf, and I have had some success with kind of that crossover sale. And I probably shouldn't have. It sold for $6.41, and so we made a little bit of money. We made a couple bucks on it, maybe $2.50. And it took 2 years to sell, and when I sold it, I just was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, the thing sold. I remember the yard sale I bought this from. But this one sold, and I'm so glad it's gone. And it was in the very, very bottom of a bucket that I put clothing in that can't hang up. This was at the very, very bottom of that bucket, and I was wondering if I had even taken it off the store altogether. But I found it, and it's going out the door, and I'm really happy. All right, this is a property of the Miami Dolphins hat, and it's got the old New Era logo on it, and it does have a little bit of dirt right here, and it is used, but it sold for $12.88, and it sold to a viewer along with the next item, so I'm going to show you that one as well. But this is from that Cincinnati Picker lot, and we are in the profit on it. We're not going to make a killing on it. We'll probably double our money from $150 to $300, which is not a great deal considering the work we put into it. However, we did get John's hat, and he did autograph it, and we did send it off to a viewer, so that was a plus. And the second item is this Dymo printer, and this Dymo is a 450 label writer, and it's a thermal printer, and it's the kind you would use if you're like an Amazon seller. And this went to a viewer. This went to Michael. And so, Michael, we appreciate both of those purchases that you made, and I'm curious to know if you are an Amazon seller out there, because that label maker will be perfect, and it is tested, it is working. So I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you enjoy the Miami Dolphins hat, and we appreciate it, and we'll get it sent right off to you. All right, here's the Harley shirt that got sent back, and the buyer just said, hey, it just doesn't fit me. And it is an XL, and it's got these stripes. It's kind of that old rugby style almost. Really thick. It's a nice sweatshirt. There you go, I dropped it again. And $17.41 plus shipping is what it sold for, and it sold within a day of me relisting it after it got returned. Got the cool embroidery on the back too. All right, here is the Lost and Found golf course buy, and obviously this was not a lost and found item. and the original sticker on it was $229.95, and it's called a crossover bag, and it does have the stand that comes out as well, and it's a brand new bag, and it sold for $129.95 plus shipping. They're out the door for $156.55. And this is an item for you new resellers out there who are afraid of selling these large items. It's best to find a box if you're new to this, and not necessarily pre-package it, but make sure it fits in that box. Maybe even cut the box down to size if you need to, and get the exact dimensions on it and get the exact weight. Now, I didn't do that. I measured this thing, I weighed this thing, and I estimated the proper amount. And I had a box that wasn't perfect for it that they gave me at the golf course, and so I had a pretty good idea, and I'm going to use that box of what the final specs would be. And this is an item that I would list calculated shipping, and I'm glad I did. This is an item that is going to cost an awful lot of money if it's going out to the West Coast. I don't know, because I haven't looked at it, but with this, the shipping price being low on here, they bought it for $130. It sold after taxes, after shipping, for $156.55. My guess, this is going to North Carolina or to Kentucky or to Tennessee or somewhere around here fairly close. And that's what I like to have. I don't like to have these items go all the way across country. I don't like it when people pay a ton of money in shipping. I like it to go to a close place. They get a better deal, I get a better deal, and I don't have to pay the fees on the exorbitant shipping costs of going out west. So I'm happier. If it happens to be returned, I don't have to pay a ridiculous return price. So I love to do calculated shipping on these large items. This one isn't very heavy, but it is large. So that's typically what I do. This is, if you haven't seen this yet, if you go to the Commonwealth Flipper channel, I did a short little video on this particular buy. And I typically go out to this golf course in January. And they called me up in December, said, hey, we got this stuff, we want to clean it out. And I usually buy all their used club head covers from them that people leave in the lost and found and never pick up. So they hold on to them all year, and then when nobody's golfing in the wintertime, they clean it all out. They usually throw it away. And so I talked to them years back and said, hey, I'll buy it from you, and I'll take it all off your hands. The first year we did a consignment. The second year we did kind of a consignment, kind of a buyout. The third year I said, no more consignment. I don't want to keep track of everything. I'll just offer you this price. This year I went back, and not only did I get those items, but they said, hey, we've got this merchandise in here that has been sitting and sitting and sitting, and we want to get our money out of it and get it out of here. And so I looked at it. It was 4 bags. This is the nicest of the 3. Nicest of the 4. The other 3 aren't quite this nice. And I think I can get around $80 plus shipping, and then $100 plus shipping for one as well. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $200 for the bags, and then we'll talk about the club head covers. And I looked at the club head covers, and they weren't amazing, but they were good enough. And I paid $50 for all the club head covers, including some lost and found shirts and hats and gloves that were in there as well. And $250 for the whole lot of it, and for the golf club head covers, and I walked out of there. So this is the first sale out of all those. I haven't even listed the club head covers yet. I think I've listed like 20 of them, and I threw away about a half of them, and I'm going to donate a little bit of them as well, but most of them are garbage. And the half that I kept, I'm going to list, and I'm going to steadily make $3, $4, $5, $6 at a time. And they're really easy to ship, and they're really easy to list. And so we'll see how much money that $250 purchase at a golf course in the middle of the winter time is going to make us. And it'll inform me as to how I go forward with that particular golf course, whether I want to continue to do it. And hopefully along the way, it'll give you some thoughts as well. Maybe it's something you want to do. Maybe you're making much more money per hour than that, and so you want to go a different direction. Most people would want to steer clear of it, but this might be right up the alley of some of you resellers out there, especially you new ones, and it may be an option. If you're looking for merchandise, maybe you just started reselling 3 months ago, and you don't have a death pile for the winter, and you're looking for merchandise to sell. And so maybe this is an option. You can contact your golf course and see if it's even a possibility. It's probably not. With some of them, I've contacted 3 or 4, and half of them have said, hey, great, let's schedule a time, and half of them have said, forget it, we're not going to do it. And then, of course, this one I've been doing for years. All right, been selling these off $9 at a time, not making much, about $3.50 a piece every time I sell one, but we're down to 7 of them, and it sold for $8.99 free shipping. All right, here is a softie, My Little Pony softie, and I'm going to show you in just a second the Nirvana plush sale and tell you about where we're at here. This one sold for $9.95 plus shipping, so it's about an $8 profit or so, and we'll add that to our total. And there's one other thing that sold out of the Homeschool Hustler store, and I'm going to let you take a look at that in a second, but it's an interesting item, and I want the kids to talk about it as well. So I'm going to give you an update on this sale, the Nirvana plush sale, and start the sale on the Lost and Found golf course sale. All right, here is the plush Nirvana sale, my hieroglyphics, of course. So far, $601 out of the $156 purchase for the plush Nirvana sale. If you haven't seen that, go back and look at the yard sale that has the 1980s plush in it, and you'll see that and check it out. And the very first one for the Lost and Found golf course sale, and $250. So far, we're up to $109. So we got a ways to go before we even break even on that one. All right, I'm going to say goodbye right here, and thanks for joining us, but stick around. There's always something cool on the end. Plus, the Homeschool Hustlers are going to come tell you about a sale that was made out of the Homeschool Hustler store, and you can check that out, and we'll add that to our plush Nirvana sale as well. Hello, Homeschool Hustlers. How you doing?
Good.
Oh, Turner, getting his yawn on there. Hey, I want to show you one thing real quick before I talk to them. I forgot to tell you that the System Study Bible, enlarged edition, sold for $24.95 plus shipping, and I forgot to mention it in the last video. And can you hold that up, Turner? I asked viewers about a week or so ago about this doll, and I got immediate responses from a whole ton of people. And yes, it is the Raid doll, and it's got a little bit of value to it. So I'm going to put that on the Homeschool Hustler store for like $10. However, I think it's got that issue right there that we're going to try to clean maybe. I've seen some out there for like $20, so we're going to put out for $10 plus shipping, I think is what we'll do, and try to clean that up. All right, and what is that thing, Reagan?
A Garfield shirt.
It's the Garfield shirt. If you've been watching the Homeschool Hustler store here, this is the second time this item sold, and the first time it sold to a gentleman named Matthew, and Matthew was kind enough to not want the item. He wanted to donate the item to the Homeschool Hustlers, and we did some good stuff with it out there, didn't we, with Blue Ridge Mama? You guys were really sweet at Christmas. And now Michael bought it and said exactly the same thing. So this shirt has been sold twice, and we still haven't. We're going to relist it again, and we're going to take that money and we're going to do another wonderful little deed with it. You think we'll go back to the old folks home, huh?
Yeah.
Convalescent home? You think that's what we want to do?
Yeah.
Or you want to find something else this time? What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, we'll give it some thought, huh?
Yeah.
And we'll give a little bit of the money to you as well. Okay? All right, and so that's really cool, Michael. We really do appreciate it, and we're going to send you a thank you note, and these two are going to write a thank you note, aren't you? And you're yawning again, big guy, aren't you? Are you tired? You slept in today?
No.
And we will send that off, and maybe we'll throw in a little Eneman as a thank you as well. Okay? Well, thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.